I think what is critical, and you're right, we are dealing in distinctions here, Steph. You're absolutely right. Typically, we see this president, when he attacks someone, go after them by name, attack them vigorously, dig in. He hasn't done that yet. And I can tell you that his top advisor, Kellyanne Conway, one of the first people I really spoke with about this entire issue, has been among the first here at the White House to say Dr. Ford deserves to be heard. She stopped. She spoke with reporters just a few moments ago, and she was asked why the president largely, on the whole, frankly, up until last night and into today, has refrained from being combative when it comes to Dr. Ford. Take a listen to what she had to say.
There's no reason to attack her. The president is defending his nominee to the United States Supreme Court as a man of character, integrity, impeccable academic and judicial qualifications and judicial temperament that he knows him to be, same as the day nominated. And by the way, this man's day job is he has served a dozen years on the second highest court in the land. We're missing that in all of the din of all this coverage, respectfully. And the president is defending his nominee, but that nominee needs to defend himself against what he says are uncategorically and unequivocally false allegations. He says he was not at the party. So that's why we have testimony in our great democracy. We hopefully will hear from them last week. The president doesn't need anybody to tell him.
But it seems like the White House is following your lead, because you were the one out first who said it first, that she deserves to be heard, and setting a tone for her not to be attacked.
Well, she should not be attacked, and she should be accommodated, but she is. And I think these conditions, I mean, I just heard a whole laundry list of them on CNN. Thanks for saying them. They're growing, it seems they're growing by the minute. I'm glad her attorneys decided to get off TV and talk to the Senate Judiciary Committee. That's a good idea. And prepare her for her testimony. But the truth is the truth. So he's willing to say it yesterday, today, tomorrow, this weekend, last weekend, certainly Monday next week. But any delay beyond that by senators who already said they were going to vote against him is politicizing the process. And it's not fair to Judge Kavanaugh, and it's probably not fair to Dr. Ford. It's also not fair to get so little coverage of all the vile language and death threats that are being thrown at Judge Kavanaugh's family. His young daughters, his wife don't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that. None of you deserve it. So we really need to tone down the temperature that way. We're not attacking her. A lot of people are attacking him and his family, and it's awful. Thank you.
Thank you, Kellyanne. And you heard our colleague there, Jeff Bennett, asking some of those questions, Steph. She was also pressed on whether the White House would commit to that Thursday timeline. She was non-committal. But again, so much of the focus right now, particularly in the wake of that tweet I just read, has been focused on the president's rhetoric as it relates to this issue, Steph.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.